Let's take a look at Dicker's face. Still. So I. 7. Next. Father took out. The recording equipment is always ready to listen to the movement on the other side. Soon. That gang of kidnappers just touched the room. After searching everywhere without any results, my daughter feels like the kidnappers have already left. Next second. Listen to the daughter's screams on the phone. Father's heart was completely silent. After a moment of silence, he knew the phone had reached the kidnapper's hands. Go back and forget. We'll have the same simulation as him. The girl you are looking for. Mom. Keep these accounts. I can't either. I don't have to give up either. The man's name is Lemnison, formerly a top-secret agent proficient in assassination and torture. Because I want to get closer to my daughter, so I chose to retire and provide for the elderly. Who would have thought that her daughter was kidnapped while playing in Paris? How should this former top-secret agent rescue her daughter across borders? First, he found many years of netizens. The other party found out that the kidnappers were members of a criminal gang specializing in kidnapping young women, all from Albania. They will pick up beautiful foreign tourists at the airport. Please provide their residential address again, and then there's the doorstep kidnapping, using various means to force them into prostitution. More seriously, Lemnison only has 96 hours of rescue time. Number 5 years. Nice immediately took a private plane to Paris on his way. He looped through the last sentence left by the kidnapper, until I deeply engrave him in my mind. After arriving in Paris, he went directly to the location where his daughter was kidnapped. No keys. This is not difficult to defeat at the grassroots level. He climbed directly along the wall barehanded to the 5th floor. Then I opened the window and successfully entered the house. Watching a messy crime scene, Lemnison's brain has already simulated the incident. 2 people came to the kidnapping scene. The brain quickly simulated the incident of her daughter being kidnapped. Then he came to the bed where his daughter was hiding at the time. I also found the hair of the kidnapper in the room, organizing a broken phone lying on the floor. Fortunately, the memory card is not damaged. Lemnison read his daughter's memory card. I found a suspicious figure while flipping through the album. The next day, the group of kidnappers outside Paris airport are using their old tricks again to find new targets. Just as he opened the car door, Lemnison suddenly appears. Push him into the car. It's just a meal. The kidnappers continue to question their daughter's whereabouts. Suddenly, he was yanked out of the car by someone. Turns out it was an accomplice of the kidnappers who arrived. After he gets rid of his accomplices, that kidnapper has already run away. Lemnison immediately drove to chase after him, finally blocking her on the elevated bridge. Seeing oneself escape without hope, he actually jumped directly off the bridge. Just when he thought he was finally safe, a large truck behind him hit him straight away. This clue's completely broken. Under helplessness, he had to find the old man before. It's a colleague who has been struggling for many years, already mixed up with the deputy director of the Security Bureau in Paris. He told Lemnison an address. Let him go there and try his luck. That very evening, Lemnison arrived at the location mentioned by his colleague. This place is actually filled with street women working for jobs. He deliberately approached to chat up, but he refused to pay the money for a long time, delaying time, causing the beauty to miss several guests. Soon, the thug behind the street girl walked over. Coming up is a big sinus. Lemnison pretended to be afraid. In fact, he took advantage of the situation and placed the monitor on the thug. Then he returned to the car and listened to their conversation. Lemnison quickly captured the key points. Their stronghold is on a construction site, so he immediately drove to. After arrival, he found a bunch of men queuing at the entrance of a house to collect their love number plates. Hand over the money. First-hand delivery. He walked into a simple-built house. At first glance, there were all the compartments inside. All the women inside are mentally drained. There are also many pinholes on the arm. It's obvious. This is a large-scale prostitution dens. Lemnison searched for his daughter in each compartment. I found my daughter's coat with a woman who was delirious, but his behavior quickly attracted a thug. Lemnison's 3-way. Just drop him to the ground if you want to. More guards rushed out, but he doesn't even put these little calamus in there. Solve them neatly and decisively. He stuffed the woman into the car. The guards behind chased after him again. A fierce gunfight erupted in an instant. Lemnison starts the car and crashes. Then a divine dragon swings its tail, knocked the cupping jar away, directly caused a violent explosion. Next, both sides engaged in a fierce pursuit battle. In the end, it was Lemnison who followed. Get rid of all the pursuers, came to a hotel. He administered antidote to the woman. After he wakes up, Lemnison asked the owner of the coat, and finally found out the address of the mastermind behind the scenes. Men come alone to the lair of criminal organizations, pretending to be an official for negotiations, come up and ask to see their boss. After entering the door, don't hesitate to ask my younger brother to bring him a cup of coffee. Overcome the kidnappers directly from their momentum. And then he started boasting about satellites again. I've been monitoring them all along, to demand an increase in protection fees. As soon as this statement is made, the kidnappers were deceived into paying directly. Finally, he asked the kidnapper, who had been silent, to help translate a sentence. Me. Working. Lemnison confirms. This is the sound he heard the day his daughter was tied up. He started guerrilla warfare in the house, killed them one by one from behind. But he searched the entire house, still without a daughter's figure. Lemnison angrily arrested the boss and tortured him to extract a confession. At first the boss was very tough, but when Lemnison turns on the current switch, the boss was immediately electrified to the point where the outside was scorched and the inside was tender. After 2 attempts, he recruited everything. It turns out that Lemnison's daughter, as a top pick, has been taken to the auction. Knowing what he wanted, Lemnison left. Before leaving, he turned on the switch, put an end to the lives of the kidnappers. Soon, he arrived at the auction house, sneak into the most secluded auction site. He saw that the item being auctioned off here is not an antique, but rather lively and fragrant women. And the last item, it's his daughter. He pointed a gun at the wealthy man next to him and threatened him. Take a picture of your own daughter. Rich people can only obediently follow suit. Who knows, I just left. Lemnison was sent to the team. When Lee wakes up again, he was tied to a steel pipe. I learned that the girl is Lemnison's daughter. Club owner expresses regret. Then he instructed his men to deal with Lemnison's agent, and Lemnison naturally wouldn't sit idly by. He pulled down the steel pipe with one hand. 3 strikes, 5 divisions, and 2 will completely solve this group of little Karami. When it's the boss' turn, he mentioned the location where the girl was transferred and prayed for his life. Lemnison didn't show any mercy, directly gave him a few guns. Next, he rushed non-stop to the dock, jump onto the ship, quickly resolve the bodyguard and use various covers, kill all the bodyguards present one by one. After a very intense confrontation, he finally solved everyone's problem. But when he pushed the door open, the old man who bought his daughter is holding him with a knife. The old man still wants to negotiate. Lemnison is not used to his problems. Just shoot your head in one shot. Eliminate all this evil criminal gang. Last, he safely returned home with his daughter. Starting from this movie, Lemnison started the rescue series, 2 or 3 consecutive runs. Later, there was an aerial rescue operation, commuter rescue. It can be seen how much the audience likes this handsome uncle.